Manchester screaming as per usual. What else is new with life? Okay, y'all. June is over. New York City DOE teachers, we're free. Y'all, we're free. We could do what we want now. We could rot if we want. We could be outside if we want. We could do whatever we want. We gave back those kids. Round of applause. Round of applause. We made it. Buy yourself something because you made it, okay? If you don't buy yourself an end of the year gift, who else will? Buy yourself something, okay? Whatever you wanted, this is your time. You made it. You deserve. Now that that's out of the way, the end of June means that we have a wrap up. And this month I only read 5 books. This month was really busy. I don't know what was going on, but it was really busy. Things were just in shambles. But I think we had a pretty good reading month. I'm going to talk about all that I read, my thoughts, the whole spiel. Don't know if I'm going to do a July TBR. I'll be honest, I don't know. In my mind, I want to, but then I just want to read whatever, right? Like, I don't know. So I'll decide as I'm going through all of that I read, whether or not I want to make a July TBR. So in real time, I will be deciding what I want to do. To kick off June reading, I read This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. This was a buddy read with one of my coworkers, and it was so fun reading this with her. We were both trying to figure out what was happening in the story. We turned it into like a psychological thriller, which, I mean, in some ways I guess it is, but not too much. In this story, we are following 2 best friends, and they have a podcast together. They both have been married, but they share a really, really, really tight-knit bond, which is borderline they're in a relationship. They just didn't want to admit it to each other. And the story was good. I don't nearly think it needs all of the hype that it has gotten. I think, like I said, it's a good story, but there was just some things about it that just was just like, okay, while I can understand why these things may have happened, I don't know. It just felt like something that could have been avoided, honestly. And I don't know, but it was still a good book. Ended up giving it 3.5 stars. So I still recommend it. It's not a terrible story. It's a really good story about like survival, women empowerment, and just like really coming together and about like the strength of women. But I just feel like there are some inconsistencies with the story, and yeah, it made me not love the story. And also Benny's character was kind of annoying because you'll read it, and then if you feel the same way I felt, maybe, I don't know, but it was good. It wasn't great. So that was This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. I physically read this whole book just because I was, like I said, I was buddy reading it, and I really wanted to divide my time to reading it with my eyes. Whenever I read something for like my book club, or if I'm reading something with someone, I like to read it with my eyes. I just feel like it's, I don't know, it's something more intimate about it. I don't know, but yes. So that was the first book I ended up finishing in June. I actually started it in like the end of May, but ended up finishing it around like the beginning of June. Then the next book I read, I do not have because it was a library book, and that was Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. I'll put it over here. That book was interesting, if I may say so myself. It was literally, It's such a good book to have conversation with. I didn't read it with anybody. I read it by myself. Such an interesting, like, bird's eye view of transactional relationships. And by transactional relationships, I mean relationships that are solely just because you like work for someone or you're doing something for someone. And in this case, in the book, it was a white family who had a young black babysitter. Like, she wasn't even a nanny, she wasn't full time, she was a babysitter. And she is out with the youngest child. No, not the youngest child, the oldest child, who was still pretty young. She's about, like, I think 3 or 4 or something like that. And she's out with her in a supermarket in a predominantly, like, white neighborhood. She gets stopped by the, like, public security, and they're accusing her of, like, taking the child and, like, kidnapping her. And that turns into a big thing with, like, the family that she's babysitting for. And then you see how the family that she's babysitting for responds to that, and also how she responds to that, which are totally two different complete responses. Woman that she works for is a very unlikable character. They do a really good job of making her an unlikable character. And I still have no words. Like, the things that this woman did in care of the main character just are, she was such a selfish woman, and everything that she did was for her. It was never for the care of someone else. Like, it was always just all about her, even down to, like, her daughter. She didn't really pay attention much to her daughter's quirkiness, or, like, really embraced it even. It was just a very unlikable character. That book was really good. I do wish we got a little more from the ending of the book, but I kind of see why the end was the way it was, just because the main character needed to move on from that situation, and they didn't give us more about her situation because she needed to move on, and she needed to, like, come of age, right, in a way. So I get why the ending was the way it was. I just wish we had a little bit more, but I'm okay with what we had. I gave that book 4 stars. Like I said, I think it was a really, really good book. I listened to that one for the majority of my read, and I also physically read it as well, for a little bit. But majority of it, I believe I listened to. The narrator was good, at least for the production that I listened to. I'm not mad at that one. I really do recommend it. I think, like I said, I think it'll be a really good conversation starter. Pick it up and let me know what you think. Like, if you've read it, let me know. Like, I want to know what you think, because I read some reviews and the reviews weren't good because of certain aspects of the book. And interestingly enough, those certain aspects had to deal with race. And so I'm just interested to hear, like, if anybody's thoughts are the same, or, like, I'm just really interested. Like I said, it's a really good book to start conversations, and really take a closer look at these transactional relationships and what they mean, and, you know, if they can be transformed into something more, right? Like, can they? I don't know. I don't have a transactional relationship, so I have no idea. The next book I finished in June was The Perfect Ruin by Shanora Williams. If you were here in, I think, April, was it April? I don't remember. Yes, I think it was April. I read Whispers of the Lake. Loved it. Perfect Ruin was my book club pick for this month. It was a book I suggested, and it won. I'm so excited. The Perfect Ruin. Girl. Again, Shanora's going to take you on a ride, baby. Shanora's going to take you on a ride. Shonora is going to make you question everybody around you and their motives, your motives, how you're moving, how other people can move, why people move the way they move. She's going to have you questioning all those things. My book club and I thoroughly enjoyed this read. Yes, the turns, we wanted to know what was going on. A lot of people really liked this one just because of like the craziness in the character Ivy and all that she does and goes through to get the perfect revenge that she seeks with someone, the lengths that she goes through, even from just like the first like 20 pages or so, the lengths that this woman goes through to try to insert herself into someone else's life to plan out this thorough revenge story. Crazy. I'm pretty sure there are people out there like that, which is why I read the books. This one I gave 4.5 stars, I believe. Did I? Let me see. No, I gave this one 4 stars. I still like Whispers of the Lake a little bit better than this one. Whispers of the Lake just had a little more like thrill to me towards like the end. I still appreciate Whispers of the Lake a little bit more than The Perfect Ruin. Not to say like I did not enjoy it. I really, really did. I just enjoyed Whispers of the Lake a little bit more. That one is just still top for me. I have The Other Mistress by Shanora Williams. I do not know when I'm going to read that one. I'm going to get a couple more of her books. I actually, at this point, I think I'm going to own all her thrillers because they are exactly what I need. Like, she is the thriller author that I crave. I really crave stories like this a lot of times because I am such a true crime lover. I love watching like body cam footage, forensic files, all the things. So books like these kind of scratch that itch for when I want to read something rather than watch something in that kind of realm. This one I physically read, like I said, when it's my book club picks, I like to physically read them. Nora Williams, y'all know how I feel about my girl. Y'all know how I feel about my girl. Yes, I can't wait to read The Other Mistress and the other books that I'm going to get by her, like The Wife Before I want and The Bitter Truth. I think those would be the only ones left in the thrillers. I might have to double check, but I believe those are the only thrillers left. So I'm not going to reach for The Other Mistress anytime soon, just because I kind of want to drag her thrillers out at least for the end of the year. I want to read all of her thrillers. So that's a little personal goal of mine. The next book I read was One of Our Kind by Nicola Yoon. This one, I don't even know. I think watching and looking at so many things, you don't even remember where you get book recs from. But I know somebody talk about this book and I added it to my list because they compared it to like Get Out. And I was like, thank you, I'll take it. So this is following a family that is moving into a all-black suburban town neighborhood. Everything is Black owned in that town, down to like the founders of the town, everything, right? And so her husband and her child move to this town. She's also pregnant at the time, and she's a real activist when it comes to like Black Lives Matter movements. She is I believe, is she a prosecutor? No, she's a defense attorney in this book, and her husband works something with like properties or construction. I can't remember. Anyway, when books, so when you read them, they kind of mesh together. Anyway, she is a defense attorney and she is all about like giving back to the Black community, right? Like, even though they're moving to this rich Black town and they have a lot of money, she does not want to forget her roots, right? And so she's the type of character who, when they're talking about something, she's referring to the news of where like another Black person was killed by officers, or where innocent child was killed or injured because of negligent officers. And so She often brings up these situations in conversation. Also is a I find a very judgmental character, especially towards other Black people. She is very much so trying to figure out what side of the fence they ride on, right? Whether they're a for the people Black person or kind of for themselves Black person. And she judges like their hair choices, she judges the way they speak, the way they walk, how they carry themselves. And she's actually a little bit of a nuisance when it comes to that, because it's just like she can never let someone be. And now, and I'm not saying that everyone, you know, should be conscious, like shouldn't be conscious of who you have around you. Almost to for when I was reading it, it was annoying, because it was just like you keep judging these people for the choices that they're making, and you don't even know why they're making the choices they're making. You know what I'm saying? And also are like holding this against this person, right? Like you're holding the fact that they want to relax their hair against them. Like what? And like she talks about like where in their history did they like not accept being Black, or like, you know, where they figured out like being natural isn't socially acceptable, so they relaxed their hair. You know, like it was just a bunch of things that just kind of were just a little off-putting, because I just didn't understand why she felt the need to like create the Black history for the person. You know what I mean? Like you can't tell someone not to relax their hair. You can't tell someone not care about these social issues, right? You know what I mean? Like, and so she was doing that throughout the book, and it was really I've spent too much time on this book. It was really kind of off-putting and made me at some points kind of like, girl, like let it go. At some points in the book I really was like, girl, what is the problem? Like why can't she not care about this right now? An example, there's one scene in the book where she is at dinner, her and her husband and her friend and their wife. And no, is it? No. Yes. No. I'm mixing two scenes. Okay, because she's at dinner two times and she does this. It's very annoying. Like I said, so she's at dinner with a friend, and it's just her and the friend, and she finds out, like the friend tells her like she's pregnant or whatever, and so they're having a conversation about like pregnancies and like all the baby stuff, right? And then the main character takes it to like raising a child in a Black child in America, and like all of the things to be scared about in that moment. And while that is something that you should think about, in the moment when she was just telling her that she's pregnant, she was dropping all of these things on her, like, you got to do this, you got to do this, and the girl was like, um and she was like visibly like scared. And like, while this woman should be celebrating with her friend and she's giving her good news and she wants to be celebrated and be happy in this moment, she was just like the Debbie Downer. And she was telling her all the things that like to be scared. And it was just like, girl, why would you say this to her? And she is trying to express to you how excited she is about motherhood and being pregnant. And like, it was just, and like I said, while I understand the reason behind why she was telling her these things and why she was, in her eyes, preparing her, it just was like, this is not the right time, babe. It's not the right time, and you gotta relax. Like, you can't bear the weight of everything on your shoulders. You cannot bear the weight of everything that's happening on your shoulders. And like, another example, I'm getting too far into this book, and clearly I have a lot to say. Also, so her husband is a mentor for like Black youth, right? At the beginning of the book, his mentee, I believe, goes to jail, and you know, he's really down about that, and he's really sad about it, and he feels like he's failed, and like, is the mentor work even worth it? Because it's bringing him down so much, right? And like, I feel like she was supportive, but she wasn't really supportive, because every chance you got when you read like another chapter where they're interacting with each other, she's asking him, when are you going to go back to mentor? And he's like, I'm going to go back. I just need some time right now, right? And like, clearly he's grieving. Clearly he's feeling the pressure of being a Black man and mentoring these Black youth and trying his hardest, and society still just like beating them down, right? And like, that weight, I feel like she just did not take into consideration. And she was just pushing him to mentor someone else, mentor like the next person, get back to it. And like, while I understand why she wants him to give back to the community, and she doesn't want them to lose a sense of themselves like she feels everyone else in the neighborhood has, she just didn't give him enough care and the time to allow him to grieve that situation. And I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't do, not just in the Black community. I just feel like people don't give people enough time to grieve situations in their own time. They're always just trying to like get you to, push through and move to the next thing. But like, in this case, in this book, this man was sad. He was visibly, you could tell from the descriptions, he was hurt. And he just did not know if mentoring is for him or if he could continue, because it's such an emotional toll on him. I don't know. I've gone on too much about this book. I'm so sorry. I really think you should read it. It is really good. It is a kind of a get out situation, where there is this wellness center in the town, and everyone who seems to go to the wellness center seems to come back a little different, okay? And you find out the difference at the end, and the end was great. I am not gonna kid you. The end was so good, and I was like, ugh. It was just so, for as a horror girly, it was uh it was a real like good horror ending. So I do recommend. I definitely think you should check it out. I gave this book 3.5 stars. One other thing I didn't like, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about this book. One thing that I also didn't like, this story is third person. Y'all know how I feel about third person over here. It's not my favorite, but I can get with it if it's done right. This one, it would just leave out, I think, a lot of important details that would have been nice to hear in the book. For example, there was a couple of parts where maybe like, okay, they went, her husband and her son, they went to like lunch in one scene, right? And they describe everything about them going to lunch, like getting ready to going to lunch. And then the next sentence was like, they laughed and they had a good time at eating their meals. And then they went back to their home, and then, such and such. And I was like, I would like to hear how fun they had at the lunch. What was, like, you told us this whole story about them leading up to the lunch, and then you just like the lunch is gone, and then now we're in another scene, and it was just a little off-putting. And it did that a couple of times, especially with like going somewhere or like chatting with someone, and it was just like, if you're not going to put the dialogue into it, then why are we sharing that scene? You know what I'm saying? So that was just one other gripe that I had about the book. But other than that, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I listened to this book and I read it physically. But I think for the majority, I listened to this one. I spent all that time on One of Our Kind. Lord have mercy. I didn't know I had so much to say about that book. I didn't know I had so much to say. But that girl, she was like getting on my nerves. He truly was getting on my nerves. Last book that I read in June is The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. This was also a buddy read with one of my coworkers, the same coworker that I buddy read This Story Might Save Your Life with. I've been in my buddy read era, y'all. We love buddy reading over here. The Nickel Boys. 5 stars. 5 stars. Such a heartbreaking story. My little heart really was like, ugh. The ending. Ugh. Like I truly enjoyed this story. Though it was short, it felt like it packed a lot of emotion, a lot of depth, and a lot of information. Like, you learn so much especially in the acknowledgments. He really does go deep into like the sources and where he got the information from to fill the story. And I am going to be researching those on my own time to really get a even better sense of what was happening in this time, and how it affected the people involved, the real people that this story is based on. I need everybody to read this book. I feel the same way I feel about James about this book. I need this on my shelf as a trophy. This is a library book, so I'm going to return it. But I need this on my shelf just like I need James on my shelf. Really, really good historical fiction stories about love, about hate, about triumph, about survival, about healing, about race, just all of in one, and like all that happened because of race and the effects that it has and continues to have. It because this story was not too long ago. This was like the 1940s, I believe. I think somewhere around there, 1940s, 1950s. So it's not that long ago, and stories like these just need to be heard and they need to be told. And I'm very appreciative that I got to read this story. I'm appreciative with my coworker who I got to read it with. I had 5 stars all around. And for The Nickel Boys, I physically read this. I listened to it, and then I also read it as an ebook as well. I will say for this book, I was a little apprehensive about reading it because I heard it was like a really heartbreaking story, and I was just like a little nervous about just going into it and like the content. But it wasn't too crazy for me. Like I said, trauma. I read a lot of it, so it wasn't anything too crazy for me, but I could see how for other people who are maybe not used to reading this type of content would be really gutted by this story. So just a little content warning if you are looking to get into this. I know this is also a movie as well. I'm going to give that a gander at some point this summer. I have no idea when. I am not even going to quote it because I don't know. So I'm going to give this a gander. And this story also is compared a lot to The Reformatory, and I also own that book, and so at some point I am going to read that as well. I want to dive more into his books. I have a couple of other ones that I have from the library also that I want to read this summer. If I'll get to them, I have no idea, but we'll see. Okay. I don't know if I want to do a July TBR in this video. It's already really long. I'm going to have to edit all of this. Ugh. No idea. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it for shits and giggles. Let's do it. I decided in the moment that I'm going to do a July TBR. with y'all. For sure in July, I'm almost sure that my book club pick is going to be Sula by Toni Morrison. The girlies wanted to read a classic, so I think we're going to go with Sula. And I think this is actually going to be a really good book to read because it's about like two friends, two women who grow up and are like really close friends. Like, I guess maybe the trials and tribulation that comes with that. And this book is not long at all. It is under 200 pages. It's 174. So I think it's going to be really, really perfect to get in and out for our book club. I'm so excited. I don't know when we're going to meet. Probably towards the end of the month. But I also have to figure out where we're going to meet and what we're going to do. I think for sure Sula is going to be our pick for book club. Also currently buddy reading with two other girls from the book club. We are reading Restore Me. This book is so damn thick, y'all. I'm going to insert a clip from when I got the book in the mail. It was just like, why the hell is this book so damn thick? Why is this book so damn thick? It better be good. Like, granted, like, it is hyped and like all of the girlies say the book is good. Why is it this thick? Look at the clip. Look at the clip. I'm gonna play it. Play it. Play it. Roll it. Roll it. I got some book stuff. Oh, wait a minute. I did not. What? This? I didn't. I didn't know this book was this thick. Holy. What? Oh, okay. But the words are like kind of big. Maybe that's why. I didn't think this book was this thick. Okay, I did not know Baby Girl was this thick though. This is intense. I didn't know. Okay. She thick. I just did not know. I didn't know. I did not know. I was like, why is this package so heavy? I did not know this book was this thick. How many pages is this? 561. For a romance? There's gotta be some other undertones in here. Cause a romance? How deep is their love? It's gotta be a better, maybe the stories are, are these chapters long? Okay. They kind of long. They kind of long. I sincerely hope that this story, it moves. I sincerely hope the story moves. Because 500, damn near 600 pages. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know when I'm gonna read it. I just want y'all to know, like, I just don't feel like a romance needs to be this thick. And I think that is why I am intimidated by reading this book. But it's also why I'm so excited we're buddy reading it, because I feel like it'll motivate me to read it because it's so daunting that it is so thick. This book is, how many pages is this book? 561 pages. The only 500-page book I've ever read was Harry Potter. And you know how long ago that was? So long. Not saying there's anything wrong with 500 plus pages books. It just feels like a romance should not be that long. But we're here and we're gonna do it. I started reading it last night, and guys, I had like my reading feels, my carefree reading feels again. And my carefree reading feels is I'm laying in the bed. It's well past my bedtime, and I'm laying on my stomach, kicking my feet, and I'm reading. That happened to me last night while I was reading this book, and I was like, oh, we're here in our summer element. And romance always tends to do that for me, so I'm excited. I'm still, why is it 500 plus pages? But I'm excited. I just want y'all to see it again. It's just insane. It's
And
literally
then
insane.
I'm also currently
Reading Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson. When did I start this book? Maybe last week. And this is one of like my most anticipated reads ever since I found out she was releasing a new book. I read Black Cake, loved Black Cake, watched the TV adaptation. It was good, but I enjoyed the book way more. And it was just something about that story that was just really interesting to me. And so when I heard that she was coming out with another book, I was like, sign me up. So this one, I'm not too far into currently, and I'm taking my time with this one because it's such an anticipated read that I don't want to rush through it. I really want to savor the story and really understand it. I'm on page 77, so not too far into it. It's about like 20 or so percent or something like that, I think. And so far, so good. So far, do I like the story more than Black Cake? No. But I'm also not too far in the story, and things have happened, but I do feel like this story is going to be a very event heavy story. I think it's going to be very character driven, and I think the characters that we are going to follow are going to develop over time and add to the development of the current characters, because it's characters that we deal with in the past, and there's also characters that we deal with in the present. And I think through the character development in the past, we are going to get some character development in the present. So far, like I said, am I enjoying it more than Black Cake? No. Is it a good story? Yes. Are there some things that I'm trying to figure out how they work and fit into the story? Yes. Do I have questions that don't have answers right now? Yes. But I think that is how anybody in the beginning of the book should feel, right? Like, because you're still learning the story, you're still learning the world, you're still learning the background. So that's where I am in the book right now. So like I said, we are taking it in small doses because it's one of my anticipated reads, and I really, really, really want to get everything that the author intended with the stories. Not, like I want to do that with all stories, but specifically for this one, or like any of my most anticipated reads, I like to savor them. Those are the 3 books I know for sure I'm going to read in July. Then I have 2 other books that I want to read just on because I want to read them in July. The first one is Model Home by River Solomon. If you watched my Summer Hopefuls, I believe I listed this book in there, and I believe this is like it's a horror, yeah. And I wanted a summer horror, so I think this will be perfect for the summer. It is short. I believe it is under 300. It's 282 pages. It'll be a nice little, and doesn't it just scream summer? Look how bright it is. It just screams summer. One of my coworkers read it and she said she liked it. She said it was good. So I'm interested to get into that one. I'm actually very excited about that one. I have high hopes for this one. The other book that I want to read is The Scammer by Tiffany D. Jackson. There is, I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it on the screen somewhere, but there is like a book club thing out there on the internet that's happening with like Tiffany D. Jackson. I don't think it's her, but I do believe like she is just like the next author they're doing this with. And so like it's just like a whole internet community where they're going to be reading The Scammer. They're reading this, I believe, like towards the end of July, like July 23rd, I believe, is when everybody's starting to read it. I'm excited. This is the only Tiffany D. Jackson book that I have not read, aside from like the books that she has that are like co-written, like the Whiteout, the Blackout, and I think there's something else that she co-wrote with. But her standalone books, I've read all of them. She has a middle grade coming out in August, I believe. Can't wait to read that one. The first middle grade book was so good. It was such a cute, like, middle grade read that I thoroughly would have enjoyed if I was in middle school. Listen, I am a thriller horror girly, okay? I love a mystery. I've always been like that. So I am part of the audience, the middle grade that Tiffany is writing for. My younger me is living through these middle grade thrillers because it's what I would have wanted to read that I didn't have a lot of. So already that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5 books. Seeing that I only read 5 in June, but to be fair, it was really busy. July, because we're off of work, I will have more time to leisurely read. So I think, I have 5. Maybe I'll pick 3 prompts from my little TBR jar here. And that way I'll have like 8. I know I'm not going to read all 8. If I do, great. But at least I'll have like variety to choose from. Yeah, because I want to read all of these, I think picking like random ones would be good. So let's pick 3 prompts from my little TBR jar here. And yeah, that'll be our picks for July. I hope you can hear me. All right, so first prompt pick. Let's see. Let me shake it up a little bit. Move them around in here, you know? Okay. Whoa! 3 of them fell. Let's just pick these 3 because 3 of them fell. All right, do you first. All right, this one says a newer book in your library. Oh, that'll be fun because I do have a lot of new books that I want to read. So that'll be fun. Okay. Next one is a book about a second chance romance. Ooh, I don't even actually know if I have any second chance romances. I know I have like a fake dating, and I know I have like one that's like, I don't know, I have to check. But that's cute. A second chance romance for summer? Yay. Yes. I love second chance romances. Those are my favorite. And then this one is a book with a pink cover. I don't even know if I have any more books with a pink cover. I think The Scammer was the only book I have with a pink cover. I'm going to check. If I don't have another book with a pink cover, I'm going to switch this one out for another prompt. Let me go look in my library and then I'll be back. Okay, so for a newer book in my library, I'm choosing One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This, and this is a nonfiction book. This is basically a nonfiction book about this man's kind of breakup with the West, and like all very, very relevant of what's happening today in society, and I don't know much about it, and it just seemed interesting to me when I picked it up. So I'm going to pick this one. Then for the second chance romance, I'm picking Burnout Summer. I believe about like a friend group. Well, not about a friend group, but it's like 2 people who were in a friend group when they were in college, and then they somehow reconnect after college, and I don't know, stuff that happens there. So that is the book I'm going to choose for the prompt of a book about a second chance romance. Prompt of a book with a pink cover. I do not own another book that has a pink cover. So I'm going to put this one back and I'm going to choose a new one. All right, this one fell. Let's pick this one. Okay, this one says a book by an author you haven't read. I think I have tons of those. I tend to read new authors. Okay, let me go look and I'll come back. I feel like I need one more thriller in this lineup. So I'm going to pick 2 books by an author that I haven't read. Am I going to read both of them? No. But I just want more variety from my stack. I just feel like there was not enough thriller for me to choose from, and I need to see thrillers. I am a majority thriller and mystery reader, so I need variety like that. So this one is a fantasy. This is The Witches of El Paso by Luis Jaramillo. No idea what it's about, but we're gonna figure it out. And then I Have You Seen Him by Kimberly Lee. It is a thriller. First of all, it's floppy. This one is also not long. It is 256 pages and it's floppy. We love that. So I think those are good. I think I've added 4 with the prompts. This is my life. This is my channel. This is my corner of the internet. I can do what I want. Let me show you my stacks of what I'm hoping to read in July. Definitely these 3, but you know, all of these books I want to read for July. So that's all from me. This video is way too long. I'm gonna have to edit the hell out of this, and that's gonna be kind of annoying, but that's all right. We're here for the love of the books. I did a lot of yapping, but I hope you found something. Have any suggestions from what you've read so far? Leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear and add more books to my TBR. It's never ending, and we love that, especially in the summertime, because we can really just let our minds go. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this long ass video. If you have, please put this emoji in the comments to let me know that you've made it here. I appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe on your way out if you so feel moved to. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.